Just some thoughts here this morning on thinkers and feelers. I feel like I've seen somewhere that INFJs tend to never quite fit in with either the thinkers or the feelers because I guess we have, we're really kind of torn between the two in a way. I don't know. There's something that I'm feeling about the whole kind of thinker and feeler dichotomy, and I think I've kind of seen something about this somewhere, but I can't find it anymore. I'm personally finding that in the MBTI kind of community, this is maybe just the feeling that I'm getting because of the discomfort, but it feels like there's a lot of thinkers that are drawn to that system, right? It's a system, it's like, I don't know, something that I guess thinkers like to really get into. I guess that's why I'm also drawn to it, because of that TI part of me. But at the same time, it feels like there's a lot of like, well, no, like the system says this or that, or I don't know, there's like a lot of lack of feeling. There's a lot of, I don't know, it feels cold to me. Like I've tried to participate in some like MBTI like forums and groups online, but sometimes it feels really like harsh and cold, and I have a bit of a hard time getting around that, I guess because of the feeling part of me. The feeling part of me is more drawn to, I guess, kind of like more spiritual kinds of communities, just because there's a much softer aspect of that. Like the healing sides of it and I don't know, just like more of a space of like kind of like love and comfort and compassion for what people are going through and where they're at. And it just feels more feely, right? Compared to this other side that I'm also really enjoying, like the whole MBTI piece that can kind of like really go deeper in terms of like really looking at like the psychology of things and using these kinds of tools to also help in personal growth. And so like I feel really torn between the two because I feel like I don't quite fit in either kind of group. And maybe you know about like a space that kind of bridges the gap between the two. I haven't found one yet, I find, where I feel like I can really be myself, where I can fully express both the feeling and the thinking sides of me, Like if I try to talk about MBTI kind of stuff in those other spaces, the like feelers like kind of like don't get it, like they haven't really gone there necessarily. And in the same like the same goes for the other side, where I'm trying to express something and their reactions always kind of feel really harsh and just like cold to me. And so I have a bit of a hard time trying to walk in both worlds. And it kind of sucks. Because it makes it feel like I've kind of found what I'm looking for, but I still haven't quite found what I'm looking for. And then there's the whole like a whole other side to it that I find really interesting too in terms of gender. I've like seen some things around that kind of talk about how I might butcher this as I try to explain it, and I'm sorry, but it's something like how men tend to be more thinking types in terms of percentages, or maybe just what is expressed, because the culture that we're in like values or expects men to kind of be more of the thinkers versus the feelers. Whereas for women, it seems to be more of a common thing for women to be more like feelers than thinkers. And again, that may also be because that's just like what's expected of women in our culture, and so that's what they're kind of showing or expressing or developing, I think. And so for me, I find I've always had a really hard time relating to other women, and I think a big piece of it is that thinking side. We've kind of talked about this in some of the comments on some of my other videos where, I had some men saying that they tend to get along better with women. I've always tended to get along better with men. I was really close with a lot of my guy friends. There's just that curious piece about it being something to do with the thinking and feeling parts of things. But I just want to take a moment to kind of express the pain around that situation, around that feeling of again, just with the two communities, the two groups, MBTI versus a more, I don't know, feeling kind of healing kind of zone. Not quite feeling like you fit in with what your gender or what is expected of your gender, based on our culture, based on those expectations that are put on the different genders. And then obviously this is generalizing a lot, but it's just the overarching sense and feeling that I've had for a lot of my life, and that I find I'm particularly struggling with right now. And sometimes I kind of wonder about a lot of the people that are commenting on my videos. I get a lot more comments from men than women, and I'm sure there are a lot of different reasons for that, but I wonder if a piece of it is tied to this kind of thinker or feeler kind of thing. Because even some of my videos that I've made that were more directed to women didn't seem to touch women. Women may not have found the video. I mean, obviously, I'm a small YouTuber, but I just wonder if there is some kind of connection to that thinker-feeler piece. So these are just some ideas kind of swirling around in my mind. I would really love to know if you've thought about this, if you know a little bit more about this piece, or can even send me any links, send me to anything that you've learned or anything that you've experienced. I really like hearing about other people's personal experiences. I think that's interesting too. Thanks for listening, and see you on the other side.